Hi,
This meeting is
everybody.
being recorded.
Hi, guys.
So I've got Zerial here with me today. So Z, I call her Z.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Akashic Records and what it really is. And we both access it, but Z does it in a way that I haven't done it before. So I would love her to share all that stuff with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Akasha is my absolute favorite thing to talk about. So I walked into this vessel about 3 years ago and have remembrance of all of existence, essentially. All that memory is really, really intact. And with the Akashic Records, it's such an important point in our history. And Akasha itself, broken down in Sanskrit, means ether, which basically means contains everything that is. So it contains all of the thoughts, all events, all memories, everything that is in existence. And it basically is the memory of creator creating. And since we are our own creators, because we are source, we are creating everything. Just another point that I need to put in there. Okay, so from my memory, going back to the very point, and in the very beginning, we'll just go there. We were one giant ball of energy, and we decided that we wanted to be aware. So it had this nice big wave come through it, this wave of sound and light, because we started to move this big ball of energy. And it became very known that we wanted to have an experience. We wanted to learn, we wanted to grow. And so that's when the first aspect of the circle came in. And and bear with me with my drawings here because I wanted to just draw. And so we're gonna go with this, okay? So just the big circle, right?
Yeah.
So now if we think about being in a circle, what happens? Just a circle. We end up looping and looping and looping. It gets very boring and there's really nothing else to do. So our thoughts at that point needed a stabilization point. Okay, so the dot within the circle, our stabilization point is a point of reference. Okay, that point of reference is the Akashic Records. Okay, it holds a memory. It held the memory that it was a circle. Okay, and from that point, it has the ability to create a new experience. Okay, so this is the Vesca Pisces from that dot in the middle. Yeah. It has the ability to create a new experience, and that dot within itself has the ability to move. So then that was the creation of the flower of life. That's how that moved itself around there. Okay, so the Akashic Records themselves, they're a pattern. Okay, so each point contains a memory that allows for movement. It allows for growth. So without that point of reference, we wouldn't have motion. We wouldn't have any of the laws of the universe that we have moving through here. We wouldn't have change. And as we all know, change is the only constant in this universe. That's what keeps us in evolution, right? So I have this little diagram. It is a line, and we know that things are nonlinear, but this is a really good way to kind of learn about how the Akashic Records work and how I use the Akashic Records specifically. So it is a line. This is your point of creation, and that's the very beginning. And each dot on that line is a piece of the Akashic Records, a memory, an event. Okay. So as I'm looking at a record, I will actually look at it in this way. Now I can see that it's shifted, it's in its geometry, but I will kind of pull that out into a line. Okay, and I will go back to the point of creation because that gives me my starting point. And then I'll take a look at specifically my soul or somebody else's consciousness experience and go to a point where I want to take a look at, say, I want to look at how many lifetimes that I've had on Mars, which is a lot of lifetimes. That in and of itself turns into a little bit of a booklet, or for me, it's just a knowing. I can see it right away. But for those of you who are really trying to do a deep dive into understanding what the Akashic is, it could look like a book. It could look like a picture movie, right? It's going to be in a way that you understand. And now that we're in a space where we don't have the remembering codes that were placed on the humans, we all have that access to the Akashic Records. In our in a human terminology, I mean, it is our subconscious, right? It's our subconscious. It collects all that information. It is a supercomputer. It's the super consciousness, basically. So we have all of that information. It's now we're remembering to remember that we have that information. So moving forward with that aspect, this is kind of what it looks like in continuing. Okay, so this lovely little diagram. So that's the straight line in now what the universe reads it as, which is a spiral. Okay, your point of origin is in the center. Each of those points is a connecting dot to the other point. Okay. So that is a blueprint. That is a map for continuation, for our growth, for our lessons. Each point contains a lesson. So for those of you who have a feeling like you're a blueprinter or you're kind of reading things, you're reading a map, and that is the map of the Akashic. And each one of those points too is what helps the grid workers do their work as well, right? That's a map for them to do their work off of, because if they don't have a memory point or a focal point, they wouldn't know where to go next or where to create next. Yay. Yeah. I just love this so much. Okay, and then here's a real picture of a big aspect of geometry, right? You can see these little teeny points, focal points. Okay, yeah, that's what our Akashic carries. That's what our Akashic does for us. I love Buddha's teachings. He taught that there is two things that are eternal. Okay, one is the Akasha, and the other is nirvana, which would then be source or oneness. It is something that is just necessary for us to be moving forward. So
yeah, absolutely. I know that when I was doing, and I'm still finishing it up, but when I was doing appointments, I would be finding the root cause of whatever it was. And I was talking higher self to higher self. So the higher self was actually going and getting the record that I needed. But now I can just go in on my own and find it. So it's a massive change. Like it definitely is faster, and you get a little bigger explanation as well, I noticed.
Yeah, you do right at this point. And now that we are so aligned with our higher selves, it's all coming down into one point. And all of our experience is in alignment now because we have shifted so much that that information comes through really fast. Yeah. It's just now doing enough of your self-work to trust that information coming through.
Yeah, that's really important. Like, and start with something small that you're not attached to, that you don't, you know, like what was my favorite color when, you know, in my last lifetime, something like that, like something that you're not going to worry about what the actual answer is.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be used to find anything, your keys, anything like that, as long as you're like, oh, hey, like I know where my keys are. You take a second to go, yep, that's it. And it generally just shows you a picture right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
It is really fast. I used to get two options when I would look for stuff for people. And I was like, okay, well, I'm getting two things. You choose. And usually the first one was the one that was right.
Right. Yeah. When we are talking about our intuitive senses, and especially with the Akashic records, for one, calling in the energy of the Kasha is the first thing, because she is her own energy. I do like to say she's more feminine, but she doesn't really have a gender. But calling her in and talking to her as a being. Yeah. That's a beautiful way to do that. Yeah. Sitting with her, sitting in meditation, and seeing how she would like to work with you. You know, how she would like to show you in the easiest way possible for you. Right. But she likes to be very direct, because it's very direct information. So the choices are really funny, but now like our intuition is the first thing that comes up. Like if I were to say, hey, honey, just for a second, take a look. How many lifetimes have you had on Lemuria? What would be the first number that comes up?
23.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
See, it's really easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we'll go into those spaces where we'll be like, I'm not sure that that was the right one. And now it's time to be like, the first one was the right one. That's the right one. Trust yourself. You
Yeah.
know your answer.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I'm searching for other people's stuff, I feel the pressure. I'm like,
No,
yeah,
I've felt
like,
that. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely been there.
yeah. And I'm always like, well, you can go look here, but no guarantee. I
Exactly,
always say
exactly.
that.
And now it's kind of like for me in my work, because I do a lot of Akashic work and Akashic readings. Um, it's really assisting people in, like, you already have your own connection. So what's the number to you? If you sit with it like for 1 second and ask yourself the direct question, what is it? And they generally bring it up right away. And I'm like, yeah, see, you've already got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's an amazing thing. And I see it as like the longest library aisle in the world. Like, just goes
Yes,
on forever. But other
it
people
does.
see it as like a whole wall of scrolls.
Absolutely.
Or yeah, like there's so many other ways like that we could see it, and it works anyway.
It works. Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, it's really dependent on everybody's perspective of what they think that is, or what feels best to them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
And I just ask for the book. I don't go look. I'm just like, can I have the book for such and such? And then I'm like, can you show me this? And I'm just like, okay, yay, here's the answer.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And
Mhm.
also too, for those of you who are really, really wanting to further dive into this, like, ask for help. You have a lot of guidance in and around you that are really, really willing to help you read that for yourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
have your
definitely.
angelics, your higher self, like
Exactly.
your archangel,
You
everybody.
still have your ascended masters out there. You have all these beautiful ETs with a lot of
Right.
wisdom. Look to the trees too. The trees now are in their own repatterning and are really here to help you communicate in that way too. So connect with them. They hold a lot of wisdom.
They do. They're amazing.
They're
That was
so
the
good.
place I used to always tell people to go sit. Go sit with the tree and then ask your questions.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yep. And now you get to sit with yourself, and then they're the mirror for you. So you're pinging off information just for yourself, but they are here to really help support.
Yeah, they're amazing. I think the nature is amazing, honestly. It feels more sentient almost than it did before to me.
So much more. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's very much so evolved to the point where um these beings of higher knowledge have really entered into their consciousness. They're really ancients.
Yeah. I love it.
They're so good. I know. They're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Everybody go talk to the trees.
Yes, go talk to the trees, go hug the trees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really I'm excited to see how it all evolves, especially with the trees. Like, I don't think cutting trees down in the future is like a big no.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's going to be shifting a lot. A lot of those
Yeah.
aspects of cutting things down, and that has been going on with the water. All the water wars and things like that are going to be shifted completely out.
Oh yeah.
So
I
yeah,
can feel it already that so many things have shifted.
so many things. It's
Mhm.
so beautiful right now,
It
and
is.
just allowing the space and joy. Like, it is
Mhm.
fun. Like, to go out and actually play with the water right now is so beautiful because of the new codes coming in, and the new aspect of the water itself and holding its wisdom. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, and I like when you're dreaming and everything, and the water is what I always equate with the subconscious, and
Yep.
that's the real where the real knowledge is and everybody's consciousness is. So
Oh, for
people are
sure.
like, "Oh, I'm drowning in the ocean." I'm like, "Okay, quit hanging out with so many people. Get out of there." Like you're drowning in the consciousness of whatever. But just that a picture of the canoe, you know, where you're floating down the river and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
flow,
Yeah.
like that's the most beautiful thing with water.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
our
is,
interaction.
it is insanely beautiful. And another great thing with being in the water, and if you're feeling like you're drowning in the water, allow the water to flow through you. And that goes for everybody else's stuff that's coming in or thought forms that you don't like. Allow it to flow through you and out, because it'll transmute and clear it
Yeah,
at that point. So
yeah.
yeah,
Just like if a trauma comes up, just let it go out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You
So
can
is
feel
that why
yourself
our
as being here.
tears are salty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Extra salty.
Yeah, very, very salty. Yeah. I was always curious about that. I was like, oh, interesting.
You got to get the extra clearing out.
Yeah. Well,
Since
and I don't know. I mean, I feel like the minerals and stuff, that's like, those are the sparks inside of us, how the energy
for
sparks. But also, like, we want to get that energy out that's not okay for us anymore. So just to let it come out.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
since the salt water is super buoyant, that those extra layers at the top, like if you feel yourself jumping into it, get the extra minerals and extra clearing right off the bat that are necessary. They give you all those sparks, and then when you float back up to the top, you're extra clear.
Yes. Yeah. I love the ocean too, like just to be on the very edge of it, you know, in the
Oh
waves,
yeah,
even though
yeah.
sometimes it goes up your nose and you're
Everywhere
like,
else,
okay. Ah. Yeah. And everything's trying to be pulled off of you as you're out there floating around, you know, but it's just such a beautiful feeling to be in there and let the water just kind of carry you, even if it is a
exactly.
little wild. It's really good. Yeah.
And carry away all of your junk.
It totally does. It's probably
Yeah,
the best grounding of all, to be like in
great.
that really grounded water, you know. But I love the grounding into your heart right now. Even though we
Oh
have
yeah,
all the
yeah.
elementals and all of that here, it feels more floaty in general in this
It does
elevated
feel more.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it really, really, really does. And even the visualization, as you were talking about that as the ocean coming into that heart space, and you having the ability to go, oh, look, I don't need that, and then floating its way back out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's amazing that we're finally like people are finally like really feeling that we're creating our own reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're actually seeing some of it. I've
Yeah,
talked to
there's
some
been a,
pretty amazing people today that have said that.
oh my gosh, what, yeah, there's been a lot of examples.
Yeah.
What are some of the examples that you had today?
So somebody said that they started to feel kind of, you know how when we're driving, we get kind of spacey.
Yep.
And she was like, oh, and she immediately got a message because she started to get vertigo
Oh
as
yeah.
she was driving, and she was told, pay attention because you're creating your reality. So
Yeah.
basically, like she couldn't the road was almost like disappearing for her. So she had to create it in front of her. And she
That's
goes, and then I
amazing.
got off the freeway and went on a smaller road. I was like, that's perfect. Yeah. So, and that was not the only one. Like there was somebody in the grocery store. There's just so much. People are
Yeah,
really seeing stuff right now.
there is a lot. I know people in Utah saw the Aurora Borealis here the other night. That was super beautiful and pink.
Yeah. And
So
very unusual.
very unusual, huh?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. The pictures I've seen lately are crazy. Like the cloud formations are nuts and so cool. And they look like they're out of some kind of I don't know, like some kind of painting.
Yeah, yeah, a
Yeah.
nice Van Gogh painting.
Yeah. Van Gogh. Totally.
Yep.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's been insanely beautiful. People, I mean, it's just people that you are walking by that are like, I don't know what's going on, but like I had a dream last night and like I felt myself being created. I've had a lot of those coming through too.
Wow.
So yeah, I felt myself going back to creation and they haven't had these experiences before. So we're evolving in such an intensively beautiful way and ascending in such a beautiful way now. It's just allowing yourself to have that bliss and seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
allow things to come in
Yep.
and kind of
Exactly.
take the time to, deal with yourself every day a little bit and see like, ooh, what's actually new in my world? Or what do I want to create?
Exactly.
Like, what do I see out there? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What is actually new in my own system right now too? Like how am I feeling? How is this different than it was yesterday? Because we're shifting so quickly,
We
you
are.
know?
Yeah. Our organs are moving around. Sometimes. I don't know what it was. It was like, this was not that recent, but all the diagrams of the heart, they were on the left side, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
where they are now. They're right in the middle.
Center.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah.
that was no accident.
Well, like moving forward too, because we're totally designing our own vessels basically for our own creations. Like there are organs in there that are not going to be necessary anymore either. So we don't need as many in our evolution.
No,
So they are shifting, they are moving.
especially the ones that give you like all the stress. They can just go like,
We want those gone.
yeah,
They're out of our
not into it.
existence.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to tell yourself when you start to get a little stressed. Not into it. Bye.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give that one away. Some
Exactly.
extra energy, son. Yeah.
Go back to the universe and transform yourself into something else, but not
Yep.
here.
Exactly. Yeah, because we don't need it. And the faster we release it, the faster we can create something else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is really
That's
fast right
really
now.
cool. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very awesome. This is awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Z.
You're very, very, very welcome.
Yeah, this was fun. So I hope everybody goes out and explores the Akash.
Please do. Please,
Yeah.
please do. We'll have more out on that too as time moves by. So, and more on blueprinters as well. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Maybe we
Yeah.
can do blueprinters next because
Yeah, let's do it.
people really talk about that very much. Mostly grid workers is what they talk about.
Exactly. And the blueprinters are really, really, really important, or else the grid workers wouldn't be able to do their work. So we should
Right.
definitely talk about
Okay.
that.
Yay.
All right.
Cool.
All right, guys. Love you so much.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.